Many employees often make the following mistake during any type of disciplinary proceeding that they're facing, where they're accused of some type of mistake or a policy violation or some type of performance deficiency. They become really defensive and they start firing back. Either they start accusing their coworkers of the mistakes that they're accused of, or they start firing back at the employer, accusing the employer of some type of conspiracy to get rid of them and to screw them over. Now, if you're accused of some type of mistake or a violation, and if you're facing any type of disciplinary hearing or a proceeding, then being very defensive, accusing your employer of being evil, accusing your coworkers of being evil, is not going to help your chances to successfully get over that problem and continue working for that employer. Now, I understand that sometimes people are accused of something that is truly not their fault, that they have nothing to do with. Even if that's the case, you're much better off not being defensive, but very nicely, very politely, and very constructively explaining that this is not how things happen, that what you're accused of is not really something that you should be accused of, without labeling your employer as evil and without blaming other workers and without bringing other workers into the picture unless you're specifically asked whether you could think of someone else who should or who could take responsibility for whatever you're accused of. Now, most of the time, you should be able to see why your employer would be bringing you in and would be accusing you or at least suspecting you for some type of violation. And let me give you an example. Let's say that another worker has accused you of harassment or has accused you of violence. And let's say that these accusations are completely false. But the manager, your employer who received these accusations, who received this complaint, he doesn't know, he wasn't there, he doesn't know if whatever the accuser said happened or whether you're telling the truth. So when he comes to you with that accusation, you should help your employer help you. You should give the employer the benefit of the doubt that they're trying to find the truth, that they're trying to determine what happened. Immediately firing back at your employer, telling them that they're evil, that they're taking sides, that they're unfair, that's not the way to resolve that type of situation. That's not the way to get the employer to believe you. Instead, you should very calmly and very rationally explain what happened, give all the information that your employer is asking of you to give them, and to fully and calmly cooperate with your employer so they can see that you have nothing to hide, you're being honest, your story adds up, this accusation is the first time that something like this ever happened, and he should believe you, and he should not rush into disciplining you or terminating you. Now, if you're accused of something that you've really done, maybe it's a mistake, maybe it's a policy violation, maybe it's some kind of misconduct, the wrong thing to do is, again, to fire back and say, oh, I had this excuse for doing that, or I had this excuse for doing that. Oh, I didn't know about this policy. I didn't know that I wasn't allowed to do this. Well, others are doing this. Why can't I do that? This is not the attitude that's going to help you. In that type of situation, you absolutely should consider taking responsibility for what you've done and also apologizing, if it's appropriate, for what you've done. And many employers will really appreciate that. Many employers appreciate when their employees taking responsibility for any type of mistake or any type of violation they committed, especially if it's a good worker and especially if it's someone they're really not looking to get rid of. They really want to clear whatever happened. And it's so rare for employees to take responsibility or to apologize for what they've done. It almost never happens, and when it does, many employers appreciate it and they find it extremely rare and extremely refreshing. Now, you might be saying, well, if I admit that what I was done was wrong, and if I apologize, I basically admit that I was guilty, and then the employer will fire me right away. Well, guess what? If you work at a private company, like most people out there do, in California, you're an at-will employee. Your employer doesn't need your admission to terminate you. They can terminate you at any time for any reason or no reason, with or without notice, with specific legal exceptions. So by you admitting that you've done something wrong, especially if they know that you did, and by you apologizing, you're not increasing your chances of being terminated, but you are increasing your chances of coming across as someone mature and someone who has the admirable quality of taking responsibility, which again, many employers and many managers out there will appreciate. Thank you.